Hello there, I'm Camille.
And I'm Gretchen. We are starting over podcast right now. We're so happy and thankful that you're here.
That's right, in this hot summer.
Oh man.
My goodness.
I don't know where y'all are, but it was just driving up to the office, it was 105.
Oh, Lord. See, and that's why you walk in and you're like, oh, I feel cool in this office. It's a good thing.
I know.
It's a good thing.
But you know what? So at home,
Yeah.
when I work at home and my two boys that live with me aren't there, I just turn the air off.
You just like the natural. Oh, not me. I'm
Because I don't get a lot of sunshine in my house, so it stays pretty cool. But I always feel like I'm always so cold. Well, why am I so cold? Because the AC is so cold.
Freezing. And I
But
like it
that's
that way.
you. I know.
I'm-
Hey, we wanted to talk about this for starting over. Camille is such a good sounding board when people come to you and they're basically stuck in a narrative.
Yeah.
Because they don't recognize that what they're telling, what they're expressing, what they're talking about, what they're reading about is all of the same verbiage.
Yeah.
And that's what you create into your life.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're living, you create a future to live into by the story you tell yourself and others all the time.
Yes.
And so if it's, oh, I can't, I could never, I'm just this. I mean, we kind of label ourselves. And so whatever that label is you're going to be right. You're always going to be right. You're going to label yourself. You're going to continue to be right in the future.
Yeah.
So if so think of some detrimental labels, or some positive labels. I always get front row parking. I always do. Right?
I mean, one thing that Camille and I, we love the lucky girl syndrome. Like, oh man, I'm such a lucky girl. Why am I always so lucky? Oh my gosh, everything works out. You really can, you have to make it, a mindset, not because you're looking for an outcome, but because you want that result to be in your life.
That's right.
You want to have this change to be in your life. It's like when people make a change and they make a goal and they're going to say things like, I'm not going to drink anymore. And then all of a sudden they find themselves feeling better.
Yeah.
It isn't the goal anymore. It's just that they feel better.
Right.
And so I think when we are focused on a narrative that whether it's something that you grew up with or that you learned from religion or you learned from your family and you're just used to saying it, that's just how it is. That's just how it is in my family. It's always been this way and that's just how it is. It doesn't ever have to stay just how it is. Never, never, never.
No, you're sentencing yourself, though. At some point, whatever happened to us growing up and stuff, we didn't really probably get to vote on all the things we decided about ourselves. We hear something, oh, you're just that. Oh, you're just this. You're the smart one, or you're the athletic one. We all have a role in our families.
Yeah.
And I've had some people say, well, I can't do that. My sister does that. My brother does that. It's like, why can't you do it too? Well, and so just even stopping and pausing and saying, well, why not? Why can't you? Why couldn't you race cars as a woman? Well, I don't know. My family just would never allow that. Well, and so just even having the new idea that you could actually stop and interrupt that. But nobody interrupts people's autopilot. I feel like I'm always interrupting people's auto thoughts. I'm like, well, hold time, slow down. You're like, look at the race that you're going through. And then you have this continuous narrative. And they'll tell me why their life is messed up because they have it that way, right? And so if I don't stop them, they're just going to continue.
Well, and you think about the analogy of like an Olympic athlete that goes over in their mind exactly what the race is. They feel it, they can see it, they sense it, like their body is automatically doing it. And the premise is when they get to the actual starting line, it's automatic, right? It's been programmed in. And so the same thing happens with our thoughts. If we continually tell a story that is of doom or sadness or
a victim.
Yeah.
Can you believe what he did to me?
Right.
She did to me.
And this wouldn't happen if this person wasn't this way.
Yeah.
I am this way because when I was 6, I was bullied, and we're certainly not saying that all that stuff isn't valid by any means. But
that's sourced it. I said there's a root there. Sure, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
but do you have choices now?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You never go to the crutch of saying, well, I was kidnapped when I was 5.
No, no, I don't. I know what the impact of that, because I worked through that. I know how that impacted me, but that doesn't control me now.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes, exactly.
I never bring that up.
You never do, unless it's to make a point of something that's of value.
That's right.
And I think a really good tale is if you're around somebody that's divorced. So if they're talking about their ex a whole lot,
Yeah.
they're not over it.
That's right.
And the funny thing is, you and I laugh about this in a way that's not like ha ha, but like ugh. You are going to bring that same person into your life.
Right.
Not necessarily that same human, but that same characteristic.
And you're going to play that same role you played with that prior person
Yeah.
in today's world, and possibly with a new person. You see that?
Yeah.
Because look, and it's factual. If you've been in an abusive relationship or with an alcoholic or something like that, you're more likely to meet the same kind of person. And I notice that with people. It's like, well, I married another cheater. I married another drinker. Because you get to be who inside of that relationship, right? Because they're used to either having an unconscious relationship, or they're not loved, or something like that. That's what they're comfortable with. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's almost like, sometimes as an outsider, you can be like, why would he or she ever go back to that?
Same thing.
Why would they, why would they, and you think, because it's familiar.
Very. That's right.
Because it's the story that your body is comfortable with.
That's right.
And so what we want to share with y'all is some ways that you can kind of break those habits, because that's what they are. I mean, the only reason why we believe something is because it's a pattern of thought. We just keep rehearsing.
Yeah.
A belief is just a pattern of thought. It doesn't mean it's necessarily true.
Well,
or
and
it can't change.
Exactly. And it really, if you stop and you think what you're really saying, is it really true?
Yeah.
And so just being introspective enough to go, can I change? Am I capable of change? Am I stuck? Am I really stuck? I say I'm stuck, or I say I'm miserable, or whatever my story is. Is that really true? Is it true now? And is it true now that it has to really impact my future?
Yes.
You know what causes the past to be in the future? Resistance. And so if I'm saying that can never happen again, guarantee you it's going to happen again.
Yes.
Why? Because I just resisted something. Whatever you resist is going to persist. Yeah.
And I think sometimes too, we have to be careful about leaning too much on the dialogue of depression. I'm just depressed, or I have anxiety, or you give yourself, while they may be true, but you give yourself a label that says it's okay for me to feel or act a certain way because this is what I've been told. I have this, right?
Yes.
And I can say that. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but I can say that because dealing with cancer, I was like, I'm never going to refer to myself as a cancer victim. No, I'm not even going to say that I'm a woman with cancer. Because
you're not going to identify that.
That was a small part of a better percentage of my body that wasn't cancerous. So I think it's the same thing with our life. If you even if it's, say, abundance, I've just always been poor. I never get a break. I'm just always going to be, working 9 to 5 and just grinding and hoping to make it through and living for the weekend. Okay.
Yeah. It's cliche, but people live in that. And I'll tell you something, there's kind of a comfort because it's a co-misery, and you'll find your friends have the same kind of story. Oh, he's this, or I went through that. There's a victim story. And sometimes they trump each other, like, well, mine's worse than yours.
That's so true. But I think there's actually a lot of validity in what you're saying, Camille, and kind of take inventory, people, that if you find yourself, you need to share how horrible things are in your life, and you're finding somebody that loves to also talk about that as well, you guys are not helping each other. You're not helping each other. I was just working with this client today, and she was talking about, how can I be a good friend and listen and have empathy with somebody without pulling their energy into me? And I said, you have to become an actress. You have to look, and you have to nod, and you have to respond in a way.
Yeah.
But you're thinking of something else. Because your energy means more You can't get sick enough to help a sick person get better. You can't get sad enough to help a sad person feel better. That's a false belief that I think we as humans think, if I sit and tell you how horrible my misery is and you tell me how, then we're going to feel better because we've been able to unload.
It almost creates a sense of, well, I can trust her because she's effed up too. I'm not kidding. I mean, sometimes it really is like a drama. Oh, I got drama. I got pain. And then it's a weird thing because I do think people tend to, if you feel like you're inadequate, she's inadequate too. So it does.
Like a comfort thing.
Yes. It's
like they're my tribe.
That's exactly
they're
it.
my girl.
Exactly. And so if you confront, like I'll interrupt people and say, do you really want to live like that? Do you really want to believe that? That's the story you're telling? Is that you're keeping that? Okay. Then I won't interfere with that. But what do you get out of that? What is the payoff? There's usually a payoff when you're living in that same story over and over and over.
Yeah. And I think if you've ever been around somebody that loves to be the victim, they love to, maybe you offer something that would be of help or some advice, and they quickly shut it down. Well, yeah, but I've tried that, and that never works.
Oh, yeah. Or I could never.
No, you don't understand what's happening, really. You know what I'm saying? And they just kind of shut it down. Then there's your gauge. Okay, they're not in a place that they want to get that help. So I think
not coachable. I say they're just not coachable, and that's okay.
Right.
We all don't have to be coachable. That's right.
So let's talk about now some things that people can do to kind of, first of all, be aware. Of what are you saying? What are you, and you don't even have to always say it, but what you're thinking. The universe hears what you feel, not necessarily what you say. Yeah,
your feelings kind of attract,
Yeah.
But if you're in a situation and you're living on repeat, like life is just the same, it's not changing, and you want to say, okay, these results are saying that this is what I'm creating. I'm sourcing these results. People say, well, I hate that. I don't want to. But what if somewhere, in some thought process, it's a good idea? So what I help people, how I reverse engineer it, I say, why is this a good thing? Why is it a good idea to have weight on, to be a little heavier? What are you getting out of that? What's the blessing in that? Well, I don't want that. No way. But I say, stop, because you have to have it this way. On some level, you're creating it this way. And you don't do it for no reason. Right. People's solutions to problems whatever you have, your persistent way of being is a solution to some other problem, if that makes sense. So I'll say for me, I do think I can look at my pictures. I was 5 years old, normal size, 6, 7. I put on some pounds. You know why? No one's going to pick me up.
Yeah, you were protecting.
You
were in self mode protection.
That's right. Yeah. So so I think every situation we find ourselves in, if it's an unwanted situation, it seems to present first as a solution to a prior problem, but we forgot what that problem was.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense. And if you think about it, even in relationships, what started to develop maybe in your 20s and now say you're in your 40s and you're still holding on to a belief system that served you in a very immature stage.
Or a behavior too,
Or a behavior, or, a different person has come and gone. They're not even in your life, but you're still holding on to a belief pattern.
Yeah.
All you're really doing is sabotaging your own happiness.
Yeah.
You said something really important. If every day of your life is the same and you're not happy, you have to tell a different story.
Yeah.
So you have to be in charge of figuring out, okay, if I'm getting the same results day after day of something I don't want, then I need to put more work into something.
Yes.
Whatever that might be.
Yeah.
Maybe that means, you know what, I'm probably not going to watch the news before I go to bed, because as I sleep, I'm marinating on all this terrible news. I'm probably not going to join in on so many chat groups that are anti whatever it is, because that's kind of bringing in an energy to me that, whatever it is, you have to be the one to take your own inventory and say, can I live without that? Would that make sense for me to give that up? And how would I feel if I did?
Yeah. Well, and in that, you're not aligning with something that's lowering your vibe, right? A lot of these things you just talked about, the news or some sort of, gossip or listening to something negative or the victim stories, like you're putting yourself in that state where you're lowering your vibration. But one of the things you can do, like she's talking about, is literally look at your results and maybe say to yourself, I'm done complaining. Like, just blanket, I'm not going to hear myself complain ever again. I'm giving up that something's wrong with me, right? Like, just take one thing. Like, if I just quit complaining, if I just really quit telling that story, or I rearrange the story, I went through a divorce and I'm actually great. We're still friends. It worked out. I'm happier. He's happy. Like, we just changed the narrative. If you can change the narrative, I'm not saying lie, but look, you're making it up anyway. What is the fact and what is an opinion? The facts are gravity. What goes up will come down, and that's true every time. But your perception of what happened to you and your story is kind of your story, right?
It is. It is your story.
story.
And sometimes, it's like what's that game, the telephone game?
Oh, yeah.
Where you whisper something in somebody's ear and then they whisper it, and by the time it goes around, it's completely different. Well, chances are the story that we're sharing or that we're telling or that we're reading about or believing about ourselves, that maybe we're giving it years that it's been happening, probably never even happened that way.
Yeah.
Right? So we have created this fantasy of justification in order to kind of alleviate a pain that we don't want to go through.
Yeah.
So, when you find yourself maybe in a new relationship and you think, oh, good, they're going to save me.
They're going to hear me
from feeling how crappy I've been feeling.
And they're going to be better to me than my ex.
Yes.
And I'm telling them all about my ex.
Right? I mean, and you hear these stupid cliche lines from movies like, they complete me.
Right.
Or, they're my missing piece.
Yeah.
Listen. You fill up your own cup.
Yeah.
Anything that runs over is what you give to somebody else. But if you ever find yourself in a position that you're waiting for somebody to fill up your cup, you will always be disappointed.
Yeah.
Not that people are horrible people, but we're human.
Yeah, but
we have on days, we have off days, and it's not someone's responsibility to make you feel whole.
And they can for moments, but not 24/7. It isn't like, and one person that you marry or you're dating can't fulfill every need either.
No.
So, but it is a huge expectation on your partner to think, I got to make her happy. I got to make him happy.
Right.
I don't know if that's 100% possible all the time. And you probably have joy with them, and that's not their job.
Right. Yeah. So to be healthy in a relationship means he or she is complete without you, and he or she is complete without you. Yes. And you guys come together and you have a really great time.
Right.
But never is the expectation of, I am wounded, I've had this trauma or this happen in my past relationship, and I need you to prove to me that people can be trustworthy. Yeah. I need you to prove to me that I'm worthy enough that you won't cheat on me. Or whatever the dialogue is.
That's hell. Yeah. I mean, what you're just saying there is, you have to fix my wound, and you need to, don't ever trigger me. You got to be perfect, and you got to make up for what I went through.
Yeah, you don't even have anything to do with that past person, but now you got to pay for it.
Yeah, you got to
make it all better.
Walk on eggshells, and don't ever and this is where I am. That again, you'd have to say, I'm sorry, I can't take this job. This is too big of a job.
That's right.
It's a job.
Yeah. At that point, you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
This first date was great, but
yeah,
but I can't do that.
That's kind of what narcs do. Narcissists, they actually turn everyone into their mother. Just saying. I mean, this is really what a narcissist is. They turn everyone into their mother. They want you to save them, accommodate them, and when you quit accommodating, they find someone who will. So if you
feel like you can be easily replaced, consider that a good thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Consider that a blessing, because and that actually, if you, even with your own children, if you're parenting and you're expecting them to make you feel like a good parent, you're expecting them to give you enough accolades that remind you that you are doing the right thing and you're being a good parent. It's not their job.
No.
It's not their job, and you will be looking for something in that person that they are never going to know how to meet and match up to, because it's your expectation.
That's right.
Right? So just in closing, give us some bullet points.
Well, honestly, you have self-determinism, you have self-control, you can make your life what you want it, but your motto has to be, if it's going to be, it's up to me. Mm-hmm. And not expect other people to do it for you. And you can change one thing at a time if you want to go slow. And a lot of it is just, I'm going to change the story I tell about myself. I'm going to change how I talk about my past, or I'm going to quit talking about my past. I think one of the guru, I can't remember what he told me, he said, your unconscious mind does not know whether it's true or not. So don't ever let yourself hear yourself complain about you. Yeah. Don't ever be critical of yourself to yourself.
Right.
That's just going to feed that. And then you're building that. So that's the future you live into. The bottom line is, you're creating the future you live into right now. Think wisely.
Absolutely. Because everything you think about, whether you say it or you just think it,
Yeah.
is being absorbed by your subconscious mind.
And that's where you're at right now.
Everything.
And that's where you're at right now. And then like
Yeah.
the moment just continues to take you forward. And that's how you source your future, is by the mood, by the thoughts. And if you don't have that story, you actually live in the possibility of, well, what's possible now? What can we create now?
Right.
Then
Now is the operative word, because if you say someday I really hope that I can feel, beautiful, or someday I really hope that I can take off this 10 pounds, or whatever it is, you literally are putting everything off because your
future.
subconscious mind is going, oh, not ready right now. Nope,
Well,
not ready right now.
And so here's how you trump. So if you had the 10 pounds off right now, what would you experience? What would you feel? Oh, I'd feel free. Well, you can feel that right now.
Right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wayne Dyer always said, when you feel it, you will see it.
That's right.
Whatever it is, when
That's
you feel
right.
it, you will see it. Hey, we appreciate you guys being here. We love when you make comments. If there's something that you would love to share, put it in the comments below. We are on lots of different platforms, so if you're not watching on YouTube, we appreciate you watching or listening in the other areas.
Spotify and Google, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, all
Wherever you
that.
find your podcast.
Absolutely.
But like, subscribe, and share. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.